Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red.
This is Channel 5. Our regularly scheduled daytime programming will not be seen today, so we may bring you the National League Divisional Series.
The best of 5 National League Eastern Division Series. The defending world champion Philadelphia Phillies, the first half champions, trying to repeat last year's World Series win. Managed by Dallas Green, the Phils led the league in hits and runs scored and feature Pete Rose, the incomparable Mr. Hustle, now the all-time National League leader in base hits. The power for the Phils, Mike Schmidt, last year's MVP and a solid choice again this year. Schmidt led the majors in home runs and RBIs. And on the mound, Steve Carlton, 3-time Cy Young Award winner. No left-hander in Major League history has ever struck out as many hitters as Carlton, who starts Game 1 against the Montreal Expos, who brought the second half Eastern Championship to Olympic Stadium. They're managed in the final month by 54-year-old Jim Fanning, who moved from the front office to the Montreal dugout. Expos led by their All-Star Game MVP catcher Gary Carter, his enthusiasm contagious, and their talented center fielder Andre Dawson, second to Schmidt in home runs. Dawson combines his power with speed and a Golden Glove. The Montreal Expos, the first Canadian entry in the playoffs. NBC Sports presents the National League Division Series. Today from Olympic Stadium, it's the Philadelphia Phillies and the Montreal Expos. The National League Division Series is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer, who invites you to test drive the 1982 Ford cars and trucks. By the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. By Acme Boots, makers of Acme Real Western Boots. And by improved Prestone 2 Antifreeze. It locks out rust and corrosion. Olympic Stadium, Montreal, Canada. Weather permitting, Game 1 of the Division Series between the Montreal Expos and the Philadelphia Phillies. Hello, everyone. I'm Dick Enburg, and this is the start of the playoffs in a most unusual 1981 National League season, featuring, of course, the 50-day strike that separated the first and second half winners, but a year in which there were some outstanding highlights. Steve Carlton, now the all-time National League pitcher in strikeouts. Pete Rose, now the all-time National Leaguer in hits. And, of course, Nolan Ryan with an unprecedented 5th no-hitter. And there was even some magic in the old-timers department. Our partner today, Tom Seaver, fashioned a 14-2 record at the age 36, and that also was an outstanding moment in the National League, 1981.
Well, Dick, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I certainly would like to be here on the field, but, of course, if I can't be on the field playing, it's nice to be back working with NBC again.
A quick look at Montreal and Philadelphia. Can we zero in on something that will be a key to this series?
Well, I think not to beat a dead horse, but as everybody might say, in a short series, pitching looks like it's going to be the key, definitely.
We're going to go chat with Jim Fanning of the Expos. You have the Phillies skipper.
Right. I've got one of the principals here in this playoff, Dallas Green, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. And Dallas, you've gone through a second half of a season where really your ball club, a world champion ball club, has not had to win. Do you think it's going to be a problem to motivate your players, get them out there, and get them back into the mental attitude of having to win ball games?
Well, Tommy, it worried me early in the second half of the season because I've got the old light bulb theory with this ball club. We've got great talent, and it seemed at times we were able to turn that talent on and score a lot of runs and do the things we're very capable of. Other days we turned the light bulb off and nothing happened, and we end up with a 0 and with an L. We didn't play very well early, but the latter part of this second half season, I've seen some of the consistency that has made the Philadelphia Phillies last year world champions, and hopefully we'll keep going in this playoff series and go right on through.
One of the strong points of your ball club, the fellow that has developed in probably the best pitcher in baseball in the last 3 or 4 years, Steve Carlton, and he's on the mound for you today. He's a big part of this story here at Olympic Stadium.
No question about it. Lefty, I can't say enough about Lefty. He's been everything we've asked of him. He's just been fabulous in terms of being a very, very consistent winner. consistent pitcher, and every time he goes out there, our baseball team, and I'm talking about all 25 guys, they know we're in a ball game, and we're going to be in one today.
Dallas, thank you very much. Good luck. And another one of the principals here at Olympic Stadium, the manager of the Montreal Expos, Jim Fanning, and Dick Enburg is with him in the Expo dugout.
Thank you, Tom. With me, Jim Fanning. Congratulations, Skipper, on your championship.
Thank you. Thank you.
Understand, before we even get started, you have a roster change.
Yeah, Dick, Rodney Scott died for a ball in Pittsburgh 3 or 4 nights ago, or days ago, or 5 or 6 now, I guess it's been, but fell on his right shoulder and hasn't been able to play since. And he won't be able to play for the next 3 or 4 days. So Wallace Johnson, the young fellow we brought up from Denver that got the big hit in Shea Stadium the other day to win our big game, is replacing Scott on the roster.
All right, pitching is the name of the game. When you get to the playoffs, you're facing maybe the best in the game in Steve Carlton. Yet everyone says if you can get by Carlton, it should be an Expo series because you have greater depth in their starters.
Well, I think our starting pitching is ready. The 4 starters that we've been relying on in the last month to do the bulk of the work for us are healthy. Rogers was never better than he was the other day, and Shea. And Rogers and Carlton ought to be a great matchup, and it might even be that they will match up 5 days from now.
All right, it'll be plenty of pitching, good starting pitching for the Montreal Expos, and of course, Dallas Green has said it'll be Dick Ruthven and Lefty Carlton. He said Lefty and Dick can get out quick for the Philadelphia Phillies. And we'll have the starting lineups for you right after we pause for this word.
Big League Tips from the Baseball Bunch.
Okay, where it's going to go.
How to play first base.
See, if you catch the ball here, it's not as fast as you catch the ball here. You catch the ball there. See, that's that much. How many times have you seen a guy stay for out by that much? So you have to go to the ball. If it's a perfect throw, just go right to it. All right? Come on, you got a good iron mic out there. Go to it. That's it.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
The weather, game 1 in Montreal, wet and cool in the 50s. It has stopped raining. It had been raining since yesterday when Philadelphia began batting practice and could not complete it. But no rain at the moment, and hopefully we'll get this one in. A crowd, we'd guess 35 to 40,000 to see the Expos and the Phils, and here's the starting lineup for the world champion Philadelphia Phils. Leading it off in center field will be Lonnie Smith, currently in a 23-game hitting streak. Batting second, Pete Rose, the National League all-time hit leader. In the third spot, left fielder Gary Matthews ripped his way through September, hitting .451, raised his average to over 300. Cleanup hitter at third base, the National League home run and RBI king again this year, Mike Schmidt. In right field, veteran Bake McBride. The catcher from the University of Texas, Keith Moreland. Veteran shortstop, the dean of the Phils, batting 7th, Larry Boa, in his 12th year in Philadelphia. All-star second baseman Manny Trio will hit 8th. And on the mound, left-hander Steve Carlton. Carlton with a 13-4 record this year. Defensively for the Expos, they'll align themselves this way. The battery of Rogers and Carter around the horn, Parrish at third, Spier at shortstop, Manuel for the injured Rodney Scott at second, Cromartie at first. The outfield left to right, White, Dawson, and Wallach. Carlton finishing his tosses down in the left field corner. And that's how the Phils finished in the first half of this 1981 year. A game and a half in front of the Cardinals with Montreal in the third spot. Expos now take the field. And 50-day strike, and then the second half of this season featured the Expos clinching the pennant on Saturday. St. Louis second, and Philadelphia 4.5 games out. St. Louis actually had the better overall record in the East if you combine first and second half statistics. On the mound, right-hander Steve Rogers, 31-year-old from Springfield, Missouri, and Tulsa University, was 12-8 this year, Tom.
Well, Steve Rogers is the veteran on a very young staff, Dick. He's been around for 7 years, as you say. He has a sinker, a slider. He's a very intense competitor. If he has a negative aspect about pitching, he's his own worst enemy. He's very self-critical. He's a fine, polished professional, and if he's on his game, he can be one of the best pitchers in baseball. You see nothing fancy from a Steve Rogers. There you see his record, 12-8 with a 3.4 ERA. You're going to see a sinker, slider, sometimes a slow curveball. And for him to be effective, he's got to throw the basics of winning pitching, low strikes.
Rogers this year against the Phils was 2-1, 16-14 lifetime. He pitches with one advantage, and that is working in Olympic Stadium, where the Montreal Expos posted the best home record of any National League team. They were 38-18. And interestingly, against Carlton, they've had some great duels. They've pitched 13 times against each other, 3 no decisions, and Rogers has won 5 and Carlton the other 5.
Well, it's funny, if you look at Rogers this year against the Phillies, he had an ERA of 5.02. He was 2-1, but one of the games that he did win, he won 9-6. But here at Olympic Stadium, it really is a little bit of a different story. Now, the Phillies and the Expos played 5 times here at this stadium, and the Expos won 5 games to zip. So the Expos definitely, I think, have to be the favorite in this ballpark, even against a guy like Carlton.
And of course, for Carlton, and he can handle the pressure most certainly, he has to win this first game. He is the kingpin of that Philly pitching staff, which has had some problems after Carlton. Set to go in Montreal, and a special moment for the fans here in Quebec. First time this Canadian team in the playoffs. Lonnie Smith leads it off for the Phils. Slides it low and away. How about the weather itself? It is cool, it's wet, the field is damp. What effect might that have?
Well, Dick, I think the effect that you'll see in this ball game that the weather is going to have.
Well, it did take Lonnie Smith to make it 24 consecutive games with a base hit.
The effect that you'll have is the ball that's hit like Lonnie Smith just led off the game with a single up to center field. If that ball gets hit into the alley, into the gap, those balls are going to shoot across the AstroTurf. When this AstroTurf gets wet, the ball will really accelerate as it hits it. You can see Lonnie Smith got a ball out over the plate, just simply drives it right up the middle.
So the Phils leadoff man aboard on a solid single back through the middle. Brings up Pete Rose. Now the 2 switch hitters in the Phils lineup, Rose and Boa, much more effective this year from the left side, and that's how, of course, they'll be facing Rogers today. Terry Tata barks out the strike call. The rest of the men in blue, Frank Pulley at first base, Bruce Fromming at second, Billy Williams at third, and down the lines, John Kibler and Jerry Crawford in left and right. Runner goes, and it is a foul ball to left as Rose tried to punch it the opposite way.
The interesting thing here, Dick, I think the Phillies, who we talked to Dallas Green about in the second half of the season, went through almost like an extended second spring training. They really didn't have to win. And I talked to some of the writers that cover the Philadelphia during that period of time. They said they didn't run much, they didn't hit and run much. It will be interesting to see if they do try to run on a Gary Carter, if they do try to put the hit and run into operation.
Rose, another banner season for this veteran 40-year-old. Up the middle could be 2. Manuel to Spier, double play. Couldn't hit that one better with a fungo bat.
Well, of course, it rained here all morning, and the teams were not able to take infield out on this AstroTurf here at Olympic Stadium, but if they were going to take infield, that's the way the coaches would have hit it, right there for a nice courtesy double play.
4-6-3 on Rose's ground ball double play. Manuel feeding Spier, and then back to Cromartie to complete the twin killing. Brings up Gary Matthews, a left fielder, hitting .301 on the season. Acquired at the end of spring training from the Atlanta Braves. And a very solid purchase for the Phils. And a good September. Hit .451 the last 17 games to raise his average up over 300. To right field, and that's the rookie Wallach. Can't make the play as that ball kept tailing away from him. And Matthews with a possible inside the park home run. And they're going to hold him at third base. Matthews with a triple into the right field corner, and fast support help from Andre Dawson to keep that one from being a home run.
Well, the ball gets by the right fielder. The funny thing about this ballpark is that the walls down in the corners are not at right angles. Here's a shot at Gary Matthews. Hits a fastball out over the plate and pops it down the right field line. You'd think that with the speed that a Gary Matthews has, you got a chance for an inside-the-park home run. I think the only reason that he was held up at third base by Lee Ilya is the guy that's stepping into the box right now, Mike Schmidt behind him.
So a single by Smith, Rose a double play ball, but Matthews with a triple the opposite way, and here's Mike Schmidt. Schmidt for the 5th time in his 9-year career leading the National League in home runs, and he's most proud of that first statistic, average first time over 300, 316. And leading the league in slugging percentage, on base percentage, almost all the offensive departments. You can find Schmidt either in that top spot or in the top 10. And of course, led again in walks with 73. As you said, every time you look up, he's hitting 2-0 and 3-1. That's where he is.
We talked about that yesterday, Dick, and he has become an extremely patient hitter, knows the strike zone, knows how pitchers are certainly going to work to him, and pitchers are very careful when they do work to him. And he hits more with a 2-0, 3-1 count, I think, than anybody that I've seen in 15 years in the major leagues.
Takes that 2-0 pitch high. Outfield playing deep with respect and straight away for Schmidt. And that's something else that's a bit of a change. The fact that Schmidt's using the entire field and not trying to pull everything. They have to cover that right field area as well, where normally they'd be able to play him dead to pull.
Steve Rogers certainly may be pitching around him here. He's got 2 outs. He may be looking in the on-deck circle for his 3rd out.
Ball 4. So on 4 pitches, Schmidt is aboard. And that brings up Bake McBride. So you go from a 316 hitter with 91 RBIs to McBride, who hit 271 this year, 2 home runs and 21 runs batted in. That's 70 less than Schmidt.
Well, Dick, I think one of the important things here, the first game of this playoffs, Steve Rogers wants to get his club into the dugout without having Philadelphia score. And, of course, if you can put Mike Schmidt on first base, he will walk an awful lot during the season because pitchers will be very careful. But I think Steve Rogers looks to Bake McBride to be his out man as opposed to Mike Schmidt.
Hit the inside corner with a fastball. McBride didn't like it. Arnold Ray McBride. Bake because that was his daddy's nickname. He said they just called me Bake Jr. Little fake pickoff move, the fake to third, and Rogers with a thought of whirling to first, but Schmidt was anchored at the bag.
That's not really a rookie you have at first base. I don't think you're going to catch him at that.
Out of play into the lower deck, off to the left, and it's 2 strikes the count on McBride. Jim Fanning took over for Dick Williams in early September and whipped his team down the stretch and into its first playoff spot. A member of the Expo front office for many years, and certainly a great deal of credit for the young talent in this organization should go to Fanning's work. Crowd looking for a strikeout. Carter looking for a possible run by Schmidt at first base. 1-2. Schmidt at first, Matthews at third. 2 outs. We're in the top of the first inning. That'll sail out of play. Is this a pitcher's park?
This would be considered a pitcher's park, Dick. Center field, when you look out from home plate, there's really a depth perception problem there. It's a long way back to that scoreboard in center field. There's a lot of distance behind that center field fence, and in that respect, it's much like the Astrodome. I think visiting hitters, complain of the depth perception.
Strike 3 call. Rogers got McBride on a tough pitch. 1-2, fastball at the knees, and took a bite out of the inside corner. So after a half inning, the Phillies nothing, the Expos against Steve Carlton coming up.
Saturday, it's Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell Sisters with guest Andy Gibb. Then Elvis and the Beauty Queen, the shocking love story that's never been told. Saturday.
Before we go to the bottom of the first inning, here's the pitch that McBride took for strike 3. was called, not swinging. And McBride argued.
Called on the pitch, and we talked about whether the enthusiasm for the Phillies is going to be here. McBride went right after Terry Tate with argument right here in the first inning.
Here's the lineup for the Expos. At first base, Warren Cromartie. Since he's been pushed into that #1 spot, the batting order is hit very well. In left field is Jerry White. One of the top stars in the National League in center field, Andre Dawson, will bat third. The cleanup hitter, the effervescent catcher of the Expos, Gary Carter. At third base, solid fielder and good power, Larry Parrish. Batting 6th in right field, former College Player of the Year, Tim Wallach. Batting 7th, Jerry Manuel, the second baseman. Manuel will be in for Rodney Scott, out for at least this series with a shoulder injury. Shortstop Chris Spier will bat 8th, and the pitcher, of course, is Rogers. Cromartie batting .304 on the year, and he has a base hit. So the two leadoff men do their job. Smith with a single up the middle, and Cromartie, who likes to go to the opposite field, singles to left. Jerry White, switch hitting outfielder, steps up. They bill him as the now best 4th outfielder in the National League. Of the first inning at Olympic Stadium in Montreal, Canada. The Phils threatened in the top half of the first when Smith singled, but Rose bounced into a double play. Gary Matthews tripled into the right field corner. Starter Steve Rogers walked Mike Schmidt, and then McBride called out on a 3rd strike, and McBride argued vehemently and had to be restrained. And now in the home half of the first inning, Cromartie, the leadoff hitter, is single to left for Montreal. Steve Carlton working on left fielder Jerry White. I'm Dick Enburg along with Tom Seaver. The weatherman apparently going to cooperate after it rained the last 24 hours. So Fanning playing for 1 run, and Carlton gets the force at second base. And Boa apparently spiked by Cromartie on the slide as he came up a hopping. Not seriously.
Jim Fanning definitely playing for a run off of Carlton. You're not going to get many runs off of Steve Carlton. He didn't break well off the mound, but he made a good, strong throw to Boa. It wasn't a particularly good bunt. You're not going to get a double play on Jerry White. But Fanning's whole purpose here is to try to get the runner to second base for Andre Dawson and Gary Carter, who's going to be in the on-deck circle. But a good bunt, it didn't get him there.
That brings up Andre Dawson, the center fielder. Carlton keeping his eye on Jerry White. A little more speed at first base with White replacing Cromartie. Good play by Rose to handle that one-hop throw from Carlton.
Carlton will throw a good move at you, Dick, too, and he'll throw some box at you, too.
High pop foul, out of play. Andre Dawson finished second to Schmidt in the National League with those 24 home runs. He also had 26 stolen bases. You carry that out over a full season, and he would have been nearly a 40-40 man. Of course, only 5 men in the history of this game have ever had 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases in a season. Bobby Bonds doing it several times. Real mark of a man with power and speed has joined that club, and Dawson certainly would have been on the way had it been a full year.
Well, you've got 2 players in this game that people talk about being all-around players. One of them right there, Andre Dawson. They speak of Andre in the same vein you talk about a Willie Mays. Hits with average, hits with power, able to run, outstanding defensive player. And, of course, the other player for the Philadelphia Phillies, Mike Schmidt, who can do it all.
Offensively and defensively. They say on the appeal, Pulley, that he went around. And Dawson just marches toward that first base dugout. Carlton's first strikeout.
Carl, of course, has a tremendous slider. We'll get most of his strikeouts on his slider right there. Break that ball down and in off the plate. The hitter commits to it. It's just too late. You could see Andre's bat went way past the strike zone. Certainly a good call by Frank Pulley at first base.
Brings up the cleanup man, catcher Gary Carter. finished at 251. Couple of home runs in the All-Star game to lead the National League over the Americans. He was a tough out for the Phils. There goes the runner. Takes a good pitch. Off speed, and Jerry White has a stolen base.
One of the advantages I think that this Montreal team is going to have in this series over the Phillies is their team speed. Jerry White, Tim Raines coming off the bench, able to do some spot pinch running. Their speed will be better than the Phillies.
Boy, White ran before Carlton ever made his move to the plate, didn't he? He just took off, and Carlton had already made up his mind he was going to come to the plate.
Even if he'd thrown behind him, he might not have gotten him at second base.
Doug Carter with a runner in scoring position. Bottom of the first inning. 2 gone. 2-1 to Carter.
We've seen both teams try to run, Dick, early in this ball game. Phillies in the top. Here, Jerry White in the bottom of the first inning. It could be a 5-inning game with a threat of rain all around Montreal. There's a real Montreal Expo fan in Donald Sutherland right there. He is here all the time.
The action pitch, 2 balls and a strike. Drilled to left field. Back goes Matthews. White scores on a double by Gary Carter.
Carter gets a breaking ball. Looks like it's right in the middle of the plate, and I looked right out at Gary Matthews. It looks like he just barely misjudged the ball when it was hit. Whether he would have been able to catch it, that ball hit high up off the wall. Another shot from the center field camera. Gary Matthews with outstanding speed, but you can see that ball, a line drive, did hit up over halfway up that wall.
1-0 Montreal. Parrish fouls the first delivery from Carlton. So the Expos score in the bottom of the first inning. Your point's well taken in a day that is certainly threatening in terms of the potential weather problems. You look ahead to a possible shortened game. You want to get the early lead. 1 ball, 1 strike to Parrish, who hit .372 in the last couple of weeks of this year to raise his average up to .244. Ooh, just pulled that one foul past third.
You look at Carlton's stats against the Expos this year. He pitched against them twice and beat them once. Another game which went 17 innings. He left after 10. It was 1-0. He only gave up 2 runs to the Expos this year in 19 innings pitched.
So to get a run off him in the first inning is news. 3-time Cy Young Award winner, Steve Carlton. One and two, the count. Foul tip. No, I guess he did not get a piece of it. And the ball knocked down by Moreland. The tag made for the strikeout. So Carlton gets a couple of strikeouts, but in between, a single, a force out on the bunt try by White. He steals second, and Gary Carter's double gives Montreal the early 1-0 lead.
Wednesdays, Quincy returns.
Can't wait to see him, man.
Tackling even tougher cases on NBC.
That's terrific.
Our pride is showing.
Olympic Stadium. The Montreal Expos take an early 1-0 lead against the Philadelphia Phils. In the top of the second, it'll be Keith Moreland, Larry Boa, and Manny Trio for the defending world champions. Moreland hitting .255. Starting today, in place of Bob Boone. You hear it all the time, Tom, and of course you've had the pleasure of working with a future Hall of Famer and Johnny Bench. You hear Moreland, you take Moreland's bat and Boone's glove and combine that, then we'd really have something. Well, there are a few that have it, the Benches and the Gary Carter too. It's really a plus for a ball club when you get a man who can handle both ends.
Well, I think in Johnny Bench you saw the premier catcher for 10 years, and in this ball club, the Montreal Expos, I think you're looking at the fellow that many consider the best catcher in the game today and will be for the next several years, Gary Carter.
2-1 to Moreland.
Always a little bit of controversy around the Philadelphia Ball Club at Dallas Green. Bob Boone, who I personally thought was the most valuable player in the World Series last year, not playing so much after the strike. Keith Moreland playing a little bit more. Coach Boone did not hit the second half. Really struggled with the bat. And Moreland is strong, extremely strong young kid. Dallas Green likes him.
2-2 pitch. Lifted behind the plate and out of play. A little bit out in front.
You could see by that swing that Rogers took a little bit off of the breaking ball. Moreland got out in front, got underneath the ball. Got the ball up in the strike zone, but he took enough off to get away with it.
Again, had him out there reaching, and it's 2-2. Steve Rogers. 6'1" and 175. Lifetime 114 wins and 113 defeats. Hit to deep left center. That's Dawson on his horse. Touch 'em all, and the game is tied. So Keith Moreland makes Dallas Green's decision look rather good in the second inning as he ties it up with a homer to the deepest part of the yard.
Well, through this sequence of pitches that Moreland got from Rogers, he got away with quite a few pitches that were up in the strike zone because Keith was out ahead of him. That one he stayed back. The ball was up in the strike zone again, and that's where Steve Rogers is going to get hurt. A great effort by the Golden Glove center fielder Andre Dawson, but no chance. That ball's out of here.
Boy, you can see Moreland, what a compact swing. He just took it like a Joe Louis right hand. Larry Boa, switch hitting shortstop. Manuel takes care of that ground ball. First out of the second inning. Brings up Manny Trio. Tom Seaver chatted with starter Steve Rogers before the game and asked him just how he would be working to this Philly lineup.
I tell you what, the main thing that I feel with the Philly lineup is you don't want to give them any gifts. They hit for a team batting average of probably about 280, 270, 280, and that's all the way through their lineup. That's from Pete Rose right on through to Bob Boone. And with that in mind, you can't give them a walk or you can't give them 4 and 5 out innings. I think that's the key. You don't want to give them any gifts because they're tough enough as it is.
And of course, the only walk allowed by Rogers was really one of those purposeful bases on balls to Schmidt. Rather than working to Schmidt, he took on McBride and struck him out to end the first inning. Moreland getting on the catcher's gear. Former Texas Longhorn football defensive back. He's got to feel pretty good right now. Trio to Manuel, and he has his third assist in the first 2 innings. Steve Carlton, the pitcher, steps up. Now and then he can hit one a long way. Never taken you downtown?
Hasn't got me deep, no. He's gotten his share of base hits off me. He is no fun to hit against either. As a pitcher, you don't get to see many breaking balls. Like, you have to go up there and hit against this guy, and he throws that 92-mile-an-hour slider at you. Oh, that's no fun at all. That'd be a tough way to make a living.
Carlton had 9 hits this year and 67 at-bats. Knocked in 4 runs. He is deceptively strong. I mean, he's obviously a big man at 6'5" and 219, but his upper body strength is really awesome for a pitcher. Foul territory, back to third, and Parrish. Did he get it? Yes, he did. Fine play. Larry Parrish able to stab that foul pop off the bat of Carlton, but the Phillies draw even on Keith Moreland's home run to lead off the second. In the middle of the second inning in Montreal, it's the Expos, and the Phils even at 1.
America's
America's most innovative sports show returns Saturday with 2 World Championship fights. First, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, middleweight champion of the world, battles the tough Mustafa Hamsho. Plus, WBA heavyweight champion Mike Weaver takes on the undefeated James Quick Tillis. Saturday.
Last of the second inning, Carlton works to rookie Tim Wallach. Wallach with a .236 season and 4 home runs. Here are the dimensions at Olympic Stadium. Down each line, it's 325 feet, 99 meters. 114 meters or 375 feet in the alleys, and that's where Wallach sends that line drive. Wallach going to try for 2. That's what you were talking about, Tom Seaver. That wet carpet, and that ball skidded on center fielder Lonnie Smith.
That's one of the things that's really changed the game of baseball is the AstroTurf, and especially when it gets wet. The speed of the baseball going across that surface has really accentuated the need to have outfield speed. Defensive outfield speed is just paramount importance.
They're going to score that as a double. Wallach. Chance for the Expos to break the 1-1 tie here in the bottom of the second. Jerry Manuel up only 55 times all year with 11 hits. There's that Carlton slider. Brings it down and into the right-handed hitters.
Well, he tries to get it down and in. The last pitch he got up, it was hit for a double, and the one to Carter he got up as well. But if he gets it down, he's going to be very, very tough. But he's made 2 mistakes with it. A good point that we talked about yesterday, last night as we were watching the Astros and the Dodgers plays. The big league hitters, they don't miss those pitches when you do get it up.
Soft line drive to Boa for the first out of the inning. Chris Spier, Boa's counterpart, shortstop of the Expos, steps in. Spier could become a free agent after the season, playing his 5 years. Former University of California, Santa Barbara. One of the many collegians on this Expo roster. They're talking about that during the course of the series, that like a college all-star team, this Montreal club. They've really gone for the college athlete. All those years that Carlton and McCarver were the battery, and then the Boone, and now suddenly things do change. And Moreland with his bat, he's in there handling Carlton. He got that one up. Here comes Wallach on a double by Spier. It's 2-1, Montreal.
About mistakes, Dick, and here's the third one that's rather obvious, a high breaking ball right up in the strike zone. Spier jumps all over it. Wallach has hit a double. Carter with a home run. We just can't make those kind of mistakes to major league hitters, and those are not the kind of pitches that Steve Carlton normally is going to make during the season. Obviously, it's obvious that he's not very sharp out there today yet. I mean, he's got to get his act together. He's still only 1 run down. He's still in the ball game, certainly, but he's got to stop making those kinds of mistakes.
As you pointed out, Carlton allowed the Expos only 2 runs in 19 innings this year. He's allowed 2 in 2 innings today. Steve Rogers, he had 8 hits and 55 at bats, works out at 145, knocked in 3 runs. Chance to help himself out. In the other National League Division Series, the Dodgers and Houston in the third are scoreless. That's Jerry Royce, the left-hander, for Los Angeles against right-hander Joe Niekro of Houston. Yeah, they were talking down the clubhouse before the game today about Nolan Ryan, and some of the players saying they've never seen Ryan pitch a better game than last night against the Dodgers. 2-hitter. Rogers is punched out. That's the 3rd strikeout for Carlton. Who singled to lead off the first inning for Montreal, steps up. We asked Cromartie about his thoughts regarding the left-hander Carlton.
Well, Steve Carlton's the best in baseball, in my opinion. No disregards to you, Tom. But lefty doesn't give me anything to hit. He's going to be awful tough to hit. Throws a lot of sliders, a lot of breaking balls. Once in a while, he even drops down on the side. So to me, I think it's going to be very difficult for me to try to get a good pitch to hit off him. But I'm going to try and battle him, make him throw low pitches out there and try to set a tempo for our ball club.
On the appeal, they say did not go around. Ooh. Call made by Billy Williams at third. This guy is a bundle of enthusiasm. He's part of Montreal's Miami connection. He says they're the I-95 team. Andre Dawson and Warren Cromartie migrating north to Montreal. A little off that pitch, and it's 2-1. We're in the last of the second. Montreal on a brace of doubles, taking the lead 2-1. 2 outs, and Spier at second base. Excuse me, foul ball. Well, that's what Cromartie was talking about. That was a wicked breaking ball.
Not going to get much to hit. He's exactly right. And Carlton has thrown a lot of breaking balls, a lot of curveballs, and a high percentage of sliders. He really believes in that slider. A lot of pitching coaches will tell you throw that slider too much, your fastball is going to go out the window. But it's been so effective for Steve, he certainly relies on it the majority of the time.
Just missed outside with a fastball.
You can see Moreland shift outside of that pitch. And sometimes I would give a pitch away to a hitter. You see that catcher shift out there, you know it's going to be a slider.
And for Carlton, he matches the 2 strikeouts of the first inning with 2 more in the second. But on doubles by Wallach and Spier, Montreal back in front. After 2 at Olympic Stadium, it's the Expos 2, the Phils 1. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, a follow-up on the assassination of Egyptian President Anwar Sadat. Join John Chancellor and the NBC News team. Experience you can trust.
This is Channel 5.
You on top of the third. And Lonnie Smith, as he's swinging a hot bat, fouls that one down the left field corner. He singled to start the ball game to run his streak to 24 consecutive games. Art Howe had a 23-game hitting streak earlier this year, and Smith matched that. Best in the senior side. At the Astrodome, excuse me, Tom, you just want to duck in no score in the last of the third now.
You look at the guy that Lonnie Smith replaced, and Gary Maddox, who many consider the finest center fielder in baseball, but Dallas Green really likes this young kid, Smith.
Good off speed. One and 2 the count. It'll be Smith followed by Rose and Matthews in the Phils' third. Second strikeout for Steve Rogers. Pete Rose, who led the National League in hits for the 8th time. That's an all-time record. His thoughts about his opponent, right-hander Steve Rogers.
Well, he works me all around. The last time we was here, I wasn't swinging the bat real well. I went 0 for 9, but we had a 17-inning game that night. But he was trying to jam me with the fastball. But he's got a good breaking ball and a good fastball and a good sinker, and you just have to be patient with him, and he'll give you a pitch to hit.
Rose with a base hit into the alley in left center. He's going for 2. Rose grounded into a double play his first time up. Whistles a double to left center with 1 out in the Phils' third. And we use the word amazing so often to describe Rose. I'll ask you what your adjective is.
Well, he is an amazing guy. You get that ball out over the plate, and he can rifle that ball up in the alley. Another example how that ball will scoot on this AstroTurf. You can see it scoot right by Jerry White, but a fine play by Dawson backing up. There it goes. You think you've got it timed, and you don't even have to look at Pete Rose. You know he's going to go for second anyway. You know he plays one way, and that's hard.
Now the tying run in scoring position with 1 out, and Matthews and Schmidt with a chance to knock him home. Manuel's been busy. Rose goes to third on the 4-3 putout. Fourth chance for Jerry Manuel. And here's Mike Schmidt now with a runner at third and 2 outs in the first inning. Rogers obviously pitched around Schmidt. We'll see what he does this time. Look at the crowd. 58,000 the capacity for baseball at Olympic Stadium. And a good turnout on a day where it rained until about an hour before game time.
Rogers in the identical situation that he had in the first inning. The only difference being Pete Rose down there instead of Gary Matthews. One thing as a pitcher that you can do is to take one guy out of that lineup and not let him beat you. Just put him on first base, you know, go ahead and walk him, pitch around him, not an intentional walk, but pitch around him, and just tell him, go over in first base so I know where you are. But you're not going to hit the ball out, you're not going to hurt me. He did it in the first inning. I think it was obvious, and we'll see if he does it here in this situation.
Well, that's 5 pitches from Rogers to Schmidt, and they've all been balls. But close, trying to get him to nibble at something bad. And Schmidt is a selective hitter. Now, that was the pitcher's pitch, that he's looking for something a little more delicious.
That's the pitcher's pitch, and Mike is a very patient hitter. He knows he's going to get that count to 2-0 and 3-1 if he's patient enough.
2-1.
Almost in this situation, Dick, you can't be patient. You know, I mean, if you've got to realize as a hitter that they are pitching around you, you might have to be a little bit more aggressive. Maybe go out and try and hit that pitcher's pitch, because Mike Schmidt can rifle that ball up the right center field alley if you throw that slider out over the plate. I mean, he's as strong as anybody that's playing this game right now. And he might have to be a little bit more aggressive at the plate in this situation.
2 balls and a strike. And ball high and away, 3-1. On deck, you can see Bake McBride. Got a fat one. Oh, what a stop by Parrish. And he gets him. Look at Cromartie and Parrish as they congratulate each other. A bullet to third.
We talked about Mike Schmidt getting 2-0 and 3-1 pitches, and there it was, and he hit it right on the nose on a wet infield, and Larry Parrish made a superb play at third base. He's a fine defensive third baseman.
Good play at both ends as Cromartie picked the one hopper out of the dirt backhanded. And so the Phils are denied in the top of the third. It'll be Dawson, Carter, and Parrish in the last of the third.
When I was a kid working this old gas pump, I never thought I'd be back here telling you that Pennzoil saves gasoline. But now, that same Pennzoil that protects your engine saves you gas. Pennzoil has added gas savings to their regular multi-weight oils, and they've done it at their regular price. That way, more people can afford to save gas.
Gas-saving Pennzoil. Quality in every extra mile.
Jerry White leads off. Last of the third inning for Montreal. Let's go back quickly to the play made by Parrish to end the Phils' third inning.
Well, it's tough to tell whether it's self-defense or what. Larry Parrish has made the play of the game right there. The tying run. Did you see Pete Rose on third base and throws out Mike Schmidt? Schmidt hit an absolute rocket to him.
White fouls it away, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on the left fielder of the Expos. He tried to sacrifice in the first inning after Cromartie had singled. Was safe on a fielder's choice, stole second, and came home on Carter's double off the left field wall. Base hit. Jerry White, a solid single to left to lead off the Montreal third. A reminder, folks, with playoff fever here, it's prime time tomorrow night. We'll be here in Montreal as the Phillies meet the Expos in Game 2 for the National League Eastern Crown. The National League Division Series continues tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on NBC, the home of great baseball coverage. And in the 4th inning, Jerry Royce has not allowed a hit to the Houston Astros as the Dodgers and Astros are scoreless in the top of the 4th in Houston. Here it's Montreal in front, 2-1. The batter, Andre Dawson. He was called out on strikes his first time up. Actually went around on a check swing. Dawson was up there with the elite Madlock and Rose going into September and had a tough last month of the year, his average dropping from 325 down to 301. Well, he certainly does tease that balk rule, doesn't he?
Carlton had 4 during the year. He gets as close as he can get over there without committing it.
Good matchup. Power against power. Carlton and Dawson. White with no one out at first base. Missed away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dawson is now the highest paid athlete in all of Canada. Davey Concepcion, the highest paid athlete in all of Ohio now. Moreland's throw not nearly in time. Jerry White has his 2nd stolen base, so with the absence of Raines other than as a pinch runner with a broken hand and Rodney Scott out, White picks up the load.
Well, the people in Montreal here say that Jerry White's the best 4th outfielder in baseball, and it can fill in as well as anybody. Does a superb job and has outstanding speed. Got the base hit off of Carlton and steals 2nd base rather easily.
Had only 5 stolen bases all year. But Dawson unable to move him along as Carlton has his 5th strikeout. Gary Carter, the hitter. He doubled off the left field wall his first time up. Carter. Tom asked him what makes Montreal tick.
I think what makes the Montreal Expos tick is just certainly the fact that we've got a great deal of character, a great deal of heart. We've got an excellent pitching staff, and our overall talent is excellent as well. We've got some key figures there. We've got some good speed, and that's the reason why we're there today.
Now you heard the boos in the background as Carlton is going to walk Carter intentionally. Set up the possible double play, and turnabout's fair play. Schmidt, they worked around Schmidt in the 1st inning, and now the cleanup man for the Expos, Carter, is walked intentionally. Steve Boros, the first base coach, talking with Carter. 1 out, and Larry Parrish, the man who made that defensive play, gets a hand from this crowd. A welcome sound for Parrish. They've been on his back a little bit in Montreal this year.
They were on his back, Dick, because of the poor year that he was having at the plate. He's been suffering with an injured wrist for about a year and a half, and it's really affected his hitting.
Check swing, and the runners are going to advance. That slider bouncing in the dirt, and Moreland unable to come up with it cleanly. And so with 1 out, runners at 2nd and 3rd.
With that slider, Carlton will have a great number of wild pitches. He had 9 during the season, but he'll get it in there in off the inside part of that plate, and that ball bounces down in that dirt. It's very difficult for the catcher. He will have some wild pitches. 2 men in scoring position now. Takes away the double play.
Inside, and Moreland moving quickly. 2 balls and a strike. Infield, as you can see, in tight, Schmidt, Boa, Trio, and Rose. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now Parrish Expos of the year, delivering some big hits. Again, Moreland skidding inside.
Harris said that with that bad wrist, he tried to make a lot of adjustments in his movement to the ball, started lunging. He's a good hitter. If he'll take the ball and try and hit it up the middle or go to right center field with it. If he doesn't do that, then he's in trouble.
1 out, runners at second and third. 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. Steve Carlton, with 1 out, finds the bases full of Expos. Parrish at first. Carter, who was intentionally walked, moves to second. Wide at third, and the batter is Tim Wallach. He hit a double to left center his first time up. Former All-American at Cal State Fullerton. Oh, and a good cut at that one.
It's one of the few fastballs you've seen Steve throw into the strike zone. Steve is, you know, we're not seeing from Steve Carlton the kind of performance that we would expect from him yet today.
Ooh. And we're having some activity now in the Philadelphia bullpen. Mike Crowley begins to tune up. 2-1. Well, here's a big pitch, Tom.
He's gotten behind a lot of hitters, and it looks to me as if his front side is flying open. You can see the bullpen for the Philadelphia Phillies, but it looks like Steve's front side, his right side, as he delivers the ball, seems to be flying open. He has been getting a lot of breaky balls up into the strike zone. Those are the pitches that he's been hurt with.
Ball 3. So Carlton has to throw a strike or he throws the Expos a run. Bases loaded, 1 out. 3-1 pitch. High to left field. Tagging is White, but Boa goes out into shallow left to make the catch, and everyone will hold tight. So Wallach had a 3-1 fastball, but couldn't drive in the run.
That is a big out for Steve Carlton. He's 1 pitch away from walking a runner in. He has to go to his fastball in that situation. 3 and run right down the middle, and Wallach gets under it a little bit.
Bottom of the third inning in Montreal's Olympic Stadium. Steve Carlton giving up a run in the first, another in the second, and now has the bases loaded, 2 out in the third. The Expos lead the Phils 2-1. A home run by Keith Moreland had tied the game for Philadelphia in the second after the Expos scored in the first inning on a single, force out, and a double by Gary Carter. Then doubles in the third by Wallach and Spier gave Montreal a 2-1 lead. Now in the third, bases loaded, and Tim Wallach has just popped to short on a 3-1 pitch. As Carlton now with 2 gone and facing Jerry Manuel. He sent a soft line out to shortstop his first at bat. 1 ball and 1 strike. Harry Tata's strike call reverberating around Olympic Stadium. Did he? Yes. 1 and 2. But Carlton not wasting any time now. He's getting that ball, wants to throw it. Manuel backs out. Outside 2 and 2. Manuel's in there as a starter. Rodney Scott, who injured his shoulder about a week ago, diving for a play in Pittsburgh, taken off the active roster just prior to the game. Oh my! Now it's 3 and 2. Bases loaded. The runners go. Strike 3. So Carlton, with the bases loaded and 1 out on a 3-1 pitch, induces Wallach to pop up and then strikes out Manuel on a 3-2 pitch to end the inning. We've completed 3 innings in Montreal. The Expos 2, the Phillies 1.
Betty Davis in Family Reunion, a triumph of the human spirit. Can she bring together 4 generations split by greed? A world premiere Sunday on NBC.
What's the old Victor Borga line? Pardon my back, but pardon my front. Dick Enburg with Tom Seaver. We're at Olympic Stadium. This is our point of view as we look out at Steve Rogers.
Facing Bake McBride, Keith Moreland, and Larry Boa. The top of the fourth inning, 2-1 Philadelphia. Well, again, congratulations, Tom, on your great season, 14-2.
Well, as you say, not bad for an old guy.
Yes, sir, like good wine. I imagine you're happy about the news regarding Concepcion's signing. The Reds could ill afford to lose his talents.
The news last night coming out of Cincinnati that David had signed a 5-year contract, and that's outstanding news for our ball club. He is a prime player for us.
McBride slashes one foul. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, it'll be Game 2 of this series. Right-hander Dick Ruthven, 12-7, scheduled to go against right-hander Bill Gullickson of Montreal. All of it right here on NBC. Well, Manuel had to earn his way today. That's 5 chances for the second baseman.
Rodney Scott, who is the normal second baseman here, everyday second baseman for the Montreal Expos, is rated as an outstanding second. 2 fine second basemen in this game, in Trio and Rodney Scott, but Jerry Manuel making it look easy out there.
Now McBride out on the ground ball to the second baseman, and here's Keith Moreland. He homered over the center field fence his first time up. Jerry Royce of the Dodgers, now working in the 5th inning in Houston, has not as yet allowed a base hit. No score in that game.
That's the kind of pitching that Steve Rogers is going to be effective with. Strikes low in the strike zone.
One ball and 2 strikes.
You can see Rogers come off the mound. We talked about him a little bit early, being sometimes he'll overthink or be too self-critical. An 0-2 pitch, which you're certainly trying to set something up. He throws a good low pitch out of the strike zone, and he's pointing to his left shoulder. Boy, I got to keep my left shoulder in it. Of course, it could be a little bit of theatrics for the hitter to look at, too. Let the hitter have something to see out there. Of course, Moreland took him deep last time at the plate.
After fouling off a couple of pitches on the corner, he got one he could handle. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Whoops.
You can see Rogers' motion as he comes to the plate. Drives the left side down, but the right leg comes around. He's not very happy with himself right now.
2-2. Check swing. Changed on that one. Uses a forkball change, he told me yesterday. They've got a youngster in that bullpen, Montreal, Tom Gorman, who throws about 80% forkballs, and they say he can make it go left, right, and down, and really high on him. Solid shot to left center for Moreland, and he's 2 for 2. And you can see again that ball really picking up speed on the wet carpet.
It really didn't look like a bad pitch. He got the ball down and away. Certainly was a good pitch. Might have been out of the strike zone. Moreland was out in front, hit the ball one-handed, but on the wet turf, he hit it solid enough to drive it through the infield.
Well, now we've got the matchup of the 2 deans of these respective teams. Rogers against Boa. Boa has been a Phil now for 12 years, longer than any of his teammates. And on the mound, Rogers working in his 9th season in the red, white, and blue of Montreal. Boa grounded to second his first at bat. Carter guessing they might have a little hit and run in the works. 2-1, the Expos lead here in the top of the 4th. Take it himself for the second out as Moreland moves into second base. 2 out to Manny Trio. Yesterday the playoffs began, and the Dodgers were defeated by the Houston Astros 3-1. Pitching of Ryan, a 2-hitter, and Alan Ashby, a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th inning to win it dramatically for the Astros. And in the West, too much Mike Norris for the Kansas City Royals as the A's of Billy Martin win the opener 4-0. Good stop by Carter. It always amazed me when you consider the plays made by infielders and outfielders with the big gloves, and then the catcher with that big pancake, and how he can able to scoop up one-hoppers left and right and make it look so easy.
Well, the guy that can make it look easy is Gary Carter, probably the finest defensive catcher in the game. For a big man, the mobility that he does have is truly amazing. He's no small fella back there.
Great hands. Low again, and it's 2-0 to Trio. Of course, the pitcher Carlton is on deck, and with first base open, Rogers working delicately to Trio. Better hurry in this weather. It won't be a hot dog. We understand now, Tom Seaver, that Jerry Royce is not only pitching a no-hitter, but has not allowed a base runner against the Houston Astros in that game in the Dome. Now they're going to finish the job and walk Trio intentionally. So that's the second walk allowed by Rogers, and brings up Carlton. Or will it? Yes, it will. Here he comes. Fouled out to third. That was a good play made by Parrish, who's been the defensive wizard thus far, with a nice play to take that foul pop out of the stands, and then handling the bullet off the bat of Schmidt to close out the third. Two on, two out, 2-1 Montreal. Looks like a hitter.
Pretty good pitches in a row right there. The first one maybe just a hair inside.
Who's regarded in your fraternity now as the best hitting pitcher in the National League?
I would imagine the fellow that's over on the Philadelphia bench, Larry Christensen, has got to be rated as one, if not the top hitting pitchers in the league.
Back through the middle, and Spier gets he's safe, and now they have the runner picked off third.
Up and out over the plate, and it looks like it's going to be a routine play at second base. Spier to Jerry Manuel, but Manuel doesn't get to the bag. Bruce Frommey calls him safe, but Keith Moreland caught off third base. Larry Parrish right there to put the third out on the Philadelphia Phillies.
Now Carlton credited with an infield hit. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left for Philadelphia. Expos stay in front 2-1.
America's most innovative sports show returns Saturday with 2 World Championship fights. First, marvelous Marvin Hagler, middleweight champion of the world, battles the tough Mustafa Hamsho. Plus, WBA heavyweight champion Mike Weaver takes on the undefeated James Quintillis. Saturday.
It's got to be a bad play by Keith Moreland there, Dick. You think about it, going around that bag. You either got to go all the way or stay close enough to the bag where you can't get thrown out on the play from second base. A good heads-up play. Let's look at the defensive aspect. Good heads-up play by Jerry Manuel at second.
Now it's Chris Spier. It's his double back in the second inning. The difference in the game at the moment as Montreal leads 2-1. Grew up in the Giants organization. There's Uncle Charlie, 1-1. The Dodgers and the Astros scoreless now in the bottom of the 5th inning. Jerry Royce working on a perfect game. They'll have the day off tomorrow, those 2 clubs, and Montreal and Philadelphia will play game 2 here tomorrow night. And on to Philadelphia Friday, Saturday, Sunday if necessary. Off the mask of Moreland, 2-2. Rogers and leadoff man Cromartie against Carlton here in the 4th. struck out 6, 2 in each inning, and he's walked 2. Sunday. Join host Brian Gumbel for NFL 81. All the highlight scores and late-breaking news from all the games and regional NFL action on NBC, featuring 2 keen rivalries, the Browns and the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and the Raiders take on the Chiefs in Kansas City. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. That's NFL football next Sunday on NFL 81 on NBC. Rogers squaring, and Carlton having some problems.
To say that Steve Carlton is struggling is an understatement, really. And you get the 8th place hitter with the pitcher leading behind, hitting behind him in this situation where you know that the pitcher is going to bump the ball. I mean, that's next to a Cardinal sin for a pitcher. Get a run to second base in scoring position with the top of the lineup coming up.
So a walk and a sacrifice, and the Expos have Spier perched at second with only 1 out. Well, that Rogers, he really shortens up, doesn't he?
Got his fingers right up on the top of that bat, and especially against a guy like a Carlton who can bring the slider in on you. You could end up with a couple of broken fingers if you're not careful.
Of course, that seems safe enough being up there to sacrifice, but ask Don Sutton about the dangers of bunting. He was trying to butt against Jerry Royce, and Royce nailed him on the right kneecap and put him out of the playoffs. Cromartie, a single and a strikeout. Strike. 1-1. Well, we've had action in every inning. Kind of pitching matchup, we expect to see a lot of 1, 2, 3 innings, but that's not been the case. Neither pitcher has been able to knock down the side in order yet.
There's the first fastball that Warren Cromartie has seen off of Steve Carlton. Last time up when he struck out, threw him all breaking balls. Curveballs, sliders, everything going out away from him.
2-1. The breaking ball low and away, so it's 3-1 to Cromartie. In case you joined us late, Carlton back in the 3rd inning with a man aboard 1 out, intentionally walked Carter, but then walked Parrish to load the bases and got out of the inning only when he got Wallach on a 3-1 pitch and Manuel on a 3-2 delivery. And now he's walked the leadoff man here in the 5th, and he's 3-1 to Cromartie. Hit well down the left field line. That's trouble. Here comes Spier to score on a double by Cromartie. Goes in front 3-1 as the leadoff walk pays off.
Well, we talked about the mistakes that Carlton is making, getting the breaking ball up in the strike zone. He threw all breaking balls to Cromartie last time, and here he goes with the slider out over the plate again, and Cromartie goes with the pitch extremely well. It's a double down in that left field corner. Steve just making a lot of mistakes, a lot of pitches up in the strike zone with his breaking ball.
Jerry White safe on a fielder's choice and scored in the 1st and singled his last time up. That's 6 hits now for the Expos. Phil's also with 6 hits. Won a home run by Moreland for their only run, but Montreal now with a 2-run lead, and Cromartie at second, 1 out. Mike Crowley, right-hander, tuning up again for Philadelphia. Secret that Philadelphia, after Carlton and Ruthven, struggling in that starting rotation, whereas the Expos have their 4 starter set. So Carlton is so critical for Philadelphia for him to pitch well and to win today. Otherwise, no question that the Expos are in the catbird seat.
Especially when you look at the fact that behind Carlton, Ruthven did not have a good second half either, Jeff. And the plus, playing here at Jerry Park, Steve Carlton has to win for these Expos. He's got to get his game on track.
2-2 pitch misses. You're showing your age there. You said here at Jerry Park?
Jerry Park, that's right. Olympic Stadium, that's right. The old ballpark with it. Montreal Expos used to play. It was called Jerry Park before they moved here to Olympic Stadium.
Ripped, and Schmidt has a runner hung up. He'll try to get in a rundown, but meanwhile, White has gone on to first base and did not take the turn, and now they throw back to first, and that was a live play. He had turned toward the infield coming back to first. You could see Cromartie saying, try to make your move towards second if I can get in a rundown, but Whitehead is back to the play running down the line.
Mike Schmidt, the outstanding third baseman in the National League. A good heads-up play. Lets Cromartie come off the base a little bit. Get that lead runner. Chase him back, boom, give the ball behind to Manny Trio. One more throw, and that ought to do it right there. There's Larry Bow. That's the way the play should be made.
And White now, remember, he has 2 stolen bases. He's stolen second both times aboard. And, of course, that one steal in the first inning helped the Expos in that Carter followed with a double to score him. 3-1 Montreal, and Carlton keeping an eye on the runner. There he goes. They got him picked off. Caught stealing. 1, 3, 4. And that's it for the Expos in the fourth. They score a run, however, on the leadoff walk and the double by Cromartie, and no one left on. After 4, it's 3-1 Montreal. Back after these messages from your local station.
First Jaws, then Piranha, now Killer Fish, starring Lee Majors and Karen Black. They were lured by sunken treasure, hunted by killer fish. A TV premiere Friday.
Dick Enburg and Tom Seaver at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The totals after 4 innings. Montreal 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors. The Expos have left 5. The Phils 1 run, 6 hits, no errors. They too have stranded 5 runners. Leading it off, it'll be Lonnie Smith and Pete Rose and Gary Matthews in the Phils' 5th inning. Smith 1 for 2, a single, and then struck out. 24 hitter on the season, and he's now hit safely with a hit today in 24 consecutive games. Let's reset the defense for you. The battery of Rogers and Carter, Parrish at third, Spier at short, Manuel and Cromartie on the right side of the infield, White in left, Dawson in center, and Wallach in right. Out of play. Rogers collects coins and Indian arrowheads. And, of course, here would like to collect a big scalp, get the Phillies in the opener. Well, you win that first game, a 5-game series, and you reduce things to rather simple mathematics. Pounded off home plate, and Spier gets him. Pete Rose grounded into a double play in the first inning and doubled to left center in the third. These are the 2 teams in the National League who have enjoyed home cooking most of all. The Expos were the best record in the National League, and the Phils not too far behind. They were the 2 winningest home teams in the league. And the Phils were commenting the advantage Montreal has is that opponents usually are playing in foul weather and they don't like it. And if it's your home field, it always seems rosy. Did you look forward to coming up here to pitch in Montreal?
You know, you ask that question a lot about every ballpark that I go to, Dick, and a lot of it depends on how you're throwing. The one place that I don't particularly like to pitch is in the Astrodome. It's so unusual, and it's difficult for hitters to see down there. Hitters that come in, the visiting players.
Another solid base hit by Rose. Well, that was right out of his autobiography. Just hang some wash on that line drive, and that's the 7th Phils hit, but Rogers has managed to scatter them well enough and leads 3-1. With 1 out, Jim Fanning checking his lineup card. Gary Matthews, a triple and 2 at-bats, is the hitter.
Rogers in 3 games against the Phillies this year was 2-1. It's 23 in a third innings against him. Gave up 27 hits. Earned run average of 5.02 against the Phillies this year. But one of those games that he did win was a 9-6 win.
Apparently Houston finally did get a base hit off Royce. There's still no score. In the top of the 6th in Houston. Dodgers and the Astros in game 2. Dodgers trying to even things out before they go to Los Angeles. And of course Houston looking for that big 2-game edge before moving west. Could be 2. Spier, Manuel, throw Marty, double play. No runs a hit, no one left as the Expos turn their second double play, and we're at the halfway mark in this one. 4.5 innings in the book. The Expos lead the Phils 3-1.
There's this argument in football about who's smarter, the offense or defense.
Defense had to be smarter to react to flip-flops and flea flickers. Then we drink the best tasting beer, light beer from Miller.
We drink light, too. It's got 1/3 less calories than the regular beer, and it's less filling. But we had to be smarter to react to the Red Dogs and closing.
Okay, Billy. The flanker does it down and out, the weak side linebacker blitzes. What's the nose guard do, huh?
I don't know.
Defense rests.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Home half of the 5th inning in Montreal, and the Expos will send up Andre Dawson, Gary Carter, and Larry Parrish, the heavy guns, against lefty Steve Carlton. Dawson has gone down swinging both times facing Carlton, who has 6 strikeouts and has walked 3, given up 6 hits and 3 runs. 3-1 Montreal. Hit well to right. To play the carom. Dawson going for 3. He's got it. Carlton backed up the throw, and Dawson a leadoff triple in the 5th.
We talked earlier about Andre Dawson being a Willie Mays type of player. He gets a pitch out over the plate and drives it down in that right field corner. Big McBride couldn't get to it. Dawson, who had 26 stolen bases during the year, along with those 24 home runs, has outstanding speed. A very aggressive player, sliding headfirst into 3rd, and there's Steve Carlton backing up the play. Good play by the pitcher.
And good camera work. Gary Carter, and Schmidt holds a runner at 3rd. Well, Carter unable to deliver the run. That's 1 out. Brings up Larry Parrish. The Expos with a chance to add to that 3-1 lead here in the 5th inning. Parrish has struck out and walked. Dickie Thon of the Astros, the infielder, ruined Royce's bid for postseason immortality. Larson, about this time, threw that perfecto against the Dodgers. 1956, wasn't it? Mike Crowley throwing again in the bullpen for Philadelphia. And the countdown 2-0 to Parrish. There's the right-hander Crowley. 2 balls and a strike.
Parrish, a real savior for this ball club coming down the stretch. We talked about before, Dick. He did take one off the shin. That's really got to hurt. But he had that bad wrist, got into a lot of bad habits. Started lunging, pulling off the ball, front side coming off. Going down that last 6 weeks, driving in 24, 25 runs. He did a fine job for this Expo team.
Almost an identical swing, and the foul. You get that slider coming inside, low and inside the right-handed hitter, and it's pretty easy to pound it off your puppy. There's a good shot of Dawson standing at 3rd as he comes down the line. Popped him up right up the elevator shaft, and it's Moreland with the out. So Parrish fouls out to the catcher, Moreland. And Parrish, an unhappy Expo, going back to the dugout.
If you run the count to 3-2 or get behind 2-0, 3-1, the hitter has the advantage. And with Carlton, it looks like Larry Parrish is certainly guessing slider, and that's exactly what he got, too. And it was up in the strike zone. You could tell he was upset that he missed it. He had a good pitch to drive, and he missed it.
They're going to walk Wallach intentionally. That'll be the fourth free ticket from Carlton, 2 intentionally. They'll take their chances on the lighter hitting Jerry Manuel. They really like Wallach, who played first base in college, but they say that he can really handle himself well at third and in the outfield as he's playing today. Good hands and good power. Hit 36 home runs in the minors last year. Terms Reardon, the pitching coach, and Dallas Green. Pretty intent expressions down in that Philly dugout. The Expos really one big swing away from breaking this one wide open on several occasions today. They lead 3-1.
Talking about breaking the game open is where you have to give credit to the veteran pitcher like Carlton. Even though he's pitched poorly, he's been behind a lot of hitters, 3-2 on a lot of hitters. Through 5 innings.
The element of surprise doesn't work as Carlton throws out Manuel.
He's still been able to shut him down. That's a mark of a good veteran pitcher, Dick.
He leaves a couple of Expos aboard in the 5th inning. No runs. He pitches around a leadoff triple by Dawson. And after 5 in Montreal, Expos 3, Phils 1. The pocket rocket, Henri Richard. His older brother, Maurice the Rocket. Two great names in National Hockey League history, and of course great favorites of these marvelous fans in Montreal. One of the things that I was hoping we'd be able to do, Tom, while we're up here, is see a game at the Forum as the NHL season just beginning. They open tomorrow night. We'll be busy here. Mike Schmidt against Steve Rogers, top of the 6th inning, and the Phils are down by 2, 3-1 Expos. Smothers that one foul. Tom chatted with Mike Schmidt before the game and asked Mike how he thought Steve Rogers would work to him today.
Well, from Steve Rogers, I'll see a little bit of everything. I'm going to try to run the count deep on him as much as I can. I don't like to swing at the first pitch when Steve's pitching. I like to try and get a 2-0 count on him, a 3-1 count. I think it's important to a hitter as myself that I wait for a good pitch to hit. And if I don't get one, to go on down to first base with a walk, because I have people coming up behind me that can do the job also.
Outside, so in this case, Schmidt down 0-2, but he certainly has followed his words accurately today. He walked in the first inning patiently, 4 pitches, then he got 3-1 and drilled one to third, and Parrish made the defensive play of the game. Chase that one. For Rogers, his 3rd strikeout.
Schmidt went after 2 bad pitches during that time at bat. He fouled one off down toward third on a fastball out and away, and that's a good curveball. Mike way out in front. Ball out of the strike zone. We talked before about Mike Schmidt being very patient. He gets very upset when he swings at a bad pitch like that.
Bake McBride called out on strikes and grounded to second. Tomorrow night it'll be Ruthven for the Phils, Gullickson for Montreal, 8 o'clock Eastern Time here on NBC. To McBride. Is Rogers the kind of pitcher that can close his own deal? Is he a 9-inning pitcher?
Steve coming back from an arm operation can't close a team out, most certainly.
Jerry White running that one down in shallow left field for the 2nd out in the 6th inning. A reminder, folks, on Saturday, a big boxing day on NBC Sports World as Sports World returns for the fall season with not one, but a chance to watch 2 World Championship bouts. You'll see the middleweight champion Marvin Hagler take on #1 contender Ham Show, and the heavyweight champion Mike Weaver, WBA champ, against James Quick Tillis. That's Saturday on NBC Sports World, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. The replays of those 2 outstanding bouts. Moreland, a home run and a single. Fouls that one back. One ball, 1 strike. In case you're wondering about long balls hit here in Olympic Stadium, there are a couple we'd like to talk about. We get a moment, we'll show you the marks. Fouled out of play. Although maybe it won't be possible. Willie Stargell, they painted a seat gold out in right field. And apparently somebody's sitting in it out there. That's Barbara Rogers, wife of Steve, rooting for her husband. Fouled at the plate. But a more incredible shot is one hit by Dave Kingman that hit the facade in left field and provoked an unusual marking for the foul pole here at Olympic Stadium. We'll get a chance. We'll show you down the left and right field line. The foul pole screen is extended by paint right up into the roof, just in case King Kong comes back. Little soft liner to Manuel, and the inning is over. For the first time today, a pitcher retires the side in order as the Phils go down 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. Coming up in the bottom of the 6th inning for Montreal, it'll be Spier, Rogers, and Cromartie. Expos in front, 3-1.
Wednesday, Real People looks at the world of teenage runaways. Then, guess who's ready for a new season? And later, wow, it's time for more lessons about facts of life.
Chris Spier leads off the Montreal 6th inning. He has an RBI double, walked and scored, so he's been a part of 2 of the 3 Montreal runs today. Carlton has given up 7 hits and 4 walks in the first 5 innings and trails 3-1. That one fouled off first, and Rose will take a look at that one becoming a souvenir. Bill Lee is jogging down the right field line and will begin warming up for Montreal, the left-hander. Former collegiate at USC along with Tom Seaver. One and 2 to Spier. We could see him come out if he gets on base, and Tim Raines could pinch run for him. Thinking of fanning as any time from the 6th inning on. Raines, who was part of the 25-man roster, the brilliant rookie outfielder who broke his hand in Chicago a few weeks ago, would come in as a pinch runner and pick the right spot. Of course, if Spier should walk, we might just see that. Still no score in Houston in the last of the 6th inning. Royce against Necro. Well, they've featured some outstanding pitching in the first 2 games. He's aboard. Now let's see if Fanning plays the card.
Second time in a row that Carlton has walked Spier leading off the inning. There's a shot of that foul pole in left field. As you go way to the top, you can see an orange line start on the roof that extends out to the overhang in this place, Olympic Stadium. There it goes.
I looked at that yesterday when I first came in here. I wondered, what in the world? Why would they paint all the way up onto the roof? And you told me why. Foul ball on the bunt try by Rogers.
That ball was hit up there by Dave Kingman when I was still with the New York Mets. It was down the left field line. Bruce Fromming, who we just see right there at second base today, was a third base umpire. It was a cloudy, overcast day, and you really couldn't see the ball. You'd lose the ball to get up so high. It doesn't seem possible, and everybody, at least the players, thought the ball was fair. Bruce called it foul. The ball bounced back in, hit in behind shortstop.
Boy, that is a mammoth shot. Rogers Almost had him picked off first base as Spier stumbled going back to the bag. Moreland hesitated, and by the time he gunned the ball down there, it was too late.
A bench situation, certainly Chris Spier trying to get as big a jump off in case the ball is laid down. He stumbles going back. That's why it became a close play at first base. Trio coming in behind the runner, and a good throw, but too late to get Spier.
When Spier led off the fourth inning with a walk, he eventually scored on the double by Cromartie.
Certainly Carlton is not very sharp. It's obvious. Marjorie Cromartie there enjoying the game here at Olympic today.
She's got a nice face, just like her son.
Just
happy face.
Beautiful smile, just like her son is right.
Bunted foul by Rogers, and that runs the count to 2-2. Both bullpens busy at the moment. Ron Reed has joined Mike Proley down in the Philly pen, and Billy throwing easily for Montreal. Good bunt by Rogers. Rose a little trouble fielding it, but Rogers was not running all out. So Rogers does his job, again sacrificing Spier to second base. That was the formula back in the fourth.
Sacrifice Spier on a very difficult pitch, too, that slider down and in, which is a very difficult pitch, and Rose bobbles the ball. Had Rogers been running hard, conceivably an error on Pete, or they might have given him a hit. But here's another shot from the center field camera. Very difficult pitch to bunt. May look easy sitting at home in your living room, but that is a tough pitch to bunt.
And the way Rogers bunts it, he only uses about 12 inches at the end of the bat. Cromartie. Single, struck out, and doubled in a run in the fourth inning. 2 for 3. Excuse me, roller to Rose. And there's 2 away. On to third goes Spier, and it's up to Jerry White. White was safe on a fielder's choice and scored in the first on a double by Carter. He singled to left in the third and safe on a fielder's choice again the fourth. He's 1 for 3. Traded to the Cubs in '78 for Woody Fryman, who has been had another banner year in the bullpen for Montreal. And they got him right back. Did the Expos get White after that season for outfielder Sam Mejias, who's now your teammate in Cincinnati. Hit high to center field and playable. Smith in the long part of the yard. So again, the Expos lose an opportunity. No runs, no hits, and they leave a man at third base. After 6 complete innings in Montreal, the Expos 3, the Phillies 1. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Betty Davis in Family Reunion, a triumph of the human spirit. Can she bring together 4 generations split by greed? A world premiere Sunday on NBC.
This is Channel 5.
Top of the 7th inning, Ron Reed warming up for Philadelphia, the former Notre Dame star, both in baseball and basketball. Played, of course, in the NBA, and he's had a good second half of the season for Philadelphia. The Phil starting pitcher, Carlton, is 3 hitters away as Philadelphia brings up Boa, Trio, and Carlton's spot in the 7th, trailing 3-1.
Now you can play manager at home. Either the first 2 men make out, Boa and Trio. Do you hit for Carlton? He's been struggling, but he's the guy that, in essence, on your pitching staff that's gotten you here to this playoff situation. Do you stick with him? Do you pull him out, try and get the run?
Trailing 3-1, of course, Boa and Trio try to make it academic and get on base where a pinch hitter would represent the tying run. Boa has grounded out both times, pulling the ball to the right side against Rogers. Ball loose in the bullpen, and Jerry White tracking it down. Don't forget tomorrow night, Game 2, right-handers Ruthven against Gullickson, 8 o'clock here on NBC. Ball 1. It's It's an indication of Rogers' stuff today, Tom Seaver, that he has not thrown a fly ball to the outfield. It's all been groundouts. Let's check that. Yes, there was. One in the last inning. I'm sorry. The first fly ball was McBride in the 6th inning.
That was the first out to the outfield, a little pop fly to left field. Rogers pitched a superb game his last start of the regular season against the New York Mets, a 2-hitter, and doing the things that he has to do to be an effective pitcher today. Throw strikes, keep ahead of his hitters, keep the ball down.
1-1. There it is, a good sinker, and Rogers will take that right on to the bag himself.
Marty and Rogers talking it over right there. About where were you? I was looking for you.
Here's the report card on Rogers for 1981. Had 3 shutouts, 7 complete games, 12 wins, only 2 behind the National League leader, Tom Seaver. 6th in the league in innings pitched, so he's the kind of man you send out there and you give the bullpen a rest now and then. Trio has grounded out and walked.
The Phillies do have an on-deck hitter in the on-deck circle. Greg Gross, yes. And he could be pulled back now if Trio does not get on. It does not mean that he's officially in the game just because he's in the on-deck circle. He could just be up there getting ready. Ron Reed in the bullpen, and he's been throwing this entire time. So certainly if Trio does get on for the Phillies, I would think Dallas Green would hit for Carlton.
Another soft ground ball, and Manuel takes care of Trio. Well, that's 6 in a row retired by Rogers, and we'll see now the decision. Yes, it has been made. Greg Gross will bat for Carlton. So Steve Carlton works 6 innings. He allows 3 runs, all earned, 7 hits. He walked 5, and he struck out 6, but didn't strike out a man after the 3rd inning. Greg Gross has had unusually fine success against this Montreal club. Two outs. Gross trying to get aboard, bring that tying run up. Lonnie Smith, the leadoff man, is on deck. Slashed foul. In Gross and Unser, Dallas Green has a couple of good veteran left-handed bats that know the situation, can come off the bench and deliver, as did Unser so wonderfully for the Phils in the playoffs last year. Two-strike pitch. Pitch him away and play him away is apparently the philosophy of Rogers here. The outfield way around toward left for Gross. Set him up inside, 2-2.
Rogers did a fine job. There's a shot of the outfield. You see how they pitch him away, in essence play him away. Play him to left field in the outfield. Rogers 2 quick strikes, breaking ball high and away, and then comes back in hard. Let's see what he does here.
Right down the middle, and it's lifted to right field. Waiting for it to come down is Wallach. And for the 2nd consecutive inning, Steve Rogers mows down the Phils. 1, 2, 3. Stretch half of the 7th inning. They're on their feet at Olympic Stadium with a score 3-1 Expos, and the middle of the batting order coming up.
I can tell a real cowboy from the drugstore kind, clean across Texas. The way he wears his hat will tell you. And the beer that you drink's a surefire giveaway, too. A lot of us drink light beer from Miller. We love the taste, but we surely appreciate that it's got a third less calories than the regular kind. You see, you don't want to be filled up when you're out there punching doggies. Ain't that right, cowboy? I didn't punch that doggie.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Follow the bouncing ball Sunday on NBC Sports.
Veteran Ron Reed in relief of Steve Carlton. Bottom of the 7th inning, 3-1 Montreal. Reed working in 39 games this year, saving 8, winning 5. He'll face Dawson, who tripled to lead off the last time up, and he tries one up the middle and gets a base hit. Well, Dawson got a kind bounce as that ball hit the infield cutout around second base and kicked high off Boa's glove.
Ball on the AstroTurf going from turf to dirt. Well, some very funny bounces once in a while, Dick, especially when the infield is wet. Fastball down and in, he beats it right into the ground, and the ball will goes from dirt to dirt and accelerates off that second dirt part, just one off the tip of Larry Boa's glove.
So the Expos maintain their mark of having at least one base runner in every inning today. Gary Carter, an RBI double in 2 official at-bats.
The Expos have had several chances, to blow this game wide open. Carlton has been able to shut them down. They conceivably could have scored 6 or 7 runs today if they'd have gotten a hit in the situation.
Olympic Stadium. And this crowd has enjoyed a fine performance by Rogers and enough offense to lead 3-1. Carter hits it to right and well. McBride tucks it away for the first out. As Larry Parrish comes up, a reminder of his outstanding play back in the 3rd inning to rob Mike Schmidt of a double.
Certainly the defensive play of the game. That's an important run. You see Pete Rose heading for home from third base right there, but there's 2 outs. Parrish got to his feet and threw out Schmidt at first base to end that inning. Defensive play of the game, no question about it.
Parrish with a bat has struck out, walked, and fouled to the catcher. Boy, you see a lot of knees and elbows with Reed on the mound. Veteran right-hander who will be 39 in November.
6'6", 225. Nothing tricky about Ron Reed either. Comes right after you. Good hard stuff. Good fastball, good slider. Of course, Dawson at first base, always a threat to steal. 26 on the year. There he goes.
He's on his way to third. So Andre Dawson steals second and goes to third on the throwing error by Moreland.
Well, the last time up, Dawson hits the ball down the corner, gets a triple here. Another example of the fine speed from an all-around player. 26 stolen bases during the regular season. Another one off of Keith Moreland here. Steals it rather easily. Gets right up. Good heads-up player. Just watching him play reminds you of Willie Mays. Never takes his eye off the ball. Always on the ball.
Well, Parrish with a chance as he takes ball 2. It's 2-1. On and out to add to the 3-1 lead. The infield in tight. Ball 3. Montreal in every inning with a chance to score. And we're able to come up with runs in the 1st and 2nd and again in the 4th. They left the bases loaded in the 3rd, left 2 men on in the 5th, wasting a leadoff triple by Dawson in that inning. 3-2. Last inning they had a walk and a sacrifice, a man at second with 1 out, and now they've got Dawson at third with 1 out. Got him.
Pretty good example of pitching right there from Ron Reed. 3-1. There's a look at Jim Fanning in the Expo dugout. We asked him yesterday what he has to do to beat the Phillies.
I think we have to outpitch them. I think pitching is going to be the key. We know their hitters very well. They know us very well. We're not strangers one to the other, and it's going to be they're stopping our bats and we stopping theirs. And sometimes that might connotate only the big bats, but there are a lot of bats in the lineup, and the pitching will be a very definite key.
Now Jim Fanning has made a move, bringing in Terry Francona to bat for Tim Wallach. It's interesting that they're batting for one another in that Francona was the 1980 College Player of the Year for the University of Arizona, and the man for whom he is batting, Wallach, was the Player of the year before, 79, for Cal State Fullerton, those two teams winning the collegiate championship. But Francona will not swing the bat. They walk him intentionally. His daddy, of course, 15-year professional veteran Tito Francona, and they really like this kid up here. They say he's got great bat control, and he'll gain more and more power as he grows up, and he plays at 22 like a veteran of 32.
You were talking to Fanning yesterday in the dugout about how this organization, the Expo organization, has gone to the college type of player. They want that kid out of the college. They want that more mature player.
Runners at first and third. That's something we'll develop. Perhaps we can get more into it tomorrow night and give fans an idea of just how many colleges and universities are represented on just the 25 Montreal man roster. And Fanning, one of those who initiated that philosophy, along with John McHale, the general manager. Runners at the corners, 2 out. Dawson at third, Francona at first, and Jerry Manuel, the batter. He sent a soft liner to short, struck out, and tried to bunt his way on. Another chance, and the Expos unable to get a run on an out, and they've squandered 3 of those opportunities today. See Moreland moving Rose back behind the runner at first. Francona goes, and they'll give him second. 2 strikes now to Manuel. You're shaking your head, Tom Seaver.
I find that an unusual play. I don't care who the hitter is. Get another man down in scoring position. They're down 3-1 already. A bloop single here, and it's 5-1.
That went back into the crowd, and the count remains 0-2.
You can do that if you want to walk this man and pitch to Chris Spier. That's fine. But you're putting another man in scoring position when you're already 2 runs down. I don't understand that.
Got him to chase a bad ball, and Reed gets out of it with his second strikeout. Some good pitching by Ron Reed. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 men left on base for the Expos. We go to the 8th inning in Montreal. Coming up for the Phils, the leadoff man Smith and Rose and Matthews. Francona will stay in the game for Montreal as we go to the 8th inning. He'll play left field. Jerry White will move from left to right field with Wallach out of the game. So the outfield for the Expos, Francona in left, Dawson in center, White in right. Lonnie Smith, 1 for 3 to start things for the Phils in the 8th. They need 2 to tie. And Rogers has retired the last 7 men in order. Not that one. By Parrish. And Smith will settle for a single. Boy, speed is such a great asset. Because of the speed of Smith, Parrish had to play shallow, and by the time he reached for that line drive, it was by him.
Not only the speed of Lonnie Smith, but the speed of that ball coming off the AstroTurf, too. That's a much different play if they're playing on grass, Dave. That's a play that Larry Parrish might make on grass. Get up and throw Lonnie Smith out at first base. But the artificial turf comes to play because of its factor of speed on that one.
So Smith, with his second hit, is aboard, and that brings a tying run to the plate for the Phils here in the 8th. Remember, this is the top run-producing team in the National League, the Phils, and Pete Rose, a part of that. He has a single and a double, 2 for 3 today. Oh, they picked Smith off. How do you do?
You talk about a heads-up play and a guy that's really in the game, Gary Carter. The guy that gets caught with his pants down is Lonnie Smith. Cromartie gets the ball, doesn't know really if Smith has gone to second yet or not, and reaches back and tries to make the tag. There it is. Smith loses his balance. He's a dead fella at second base. Chris Spier puts a tag on him.
Boy, that really lets the air out of the balloon in a hurry. You get that leadoff man on and picked off clean by Carter. Rose showing him the possible bunt for a base hit. He's just trying to keep that inning going, and now he's got to drive one. 2-1. Meanwhile, in the Astrodome, no score. The Dodgers out hitting Houston, but boy, one run's going to play big now in game 2 of that series. Chris Spier. And Tom, that was a much tougher play than it appeared because the ball wasn't hit as hard as it might have first appeared, and Spier didn't jump too soon.
Very difficult play for that shortstop in that situation. I think it's difficult for the infielder to tell where the ball has been hit on the bat. If it's up by the handle, if it's out on the trademark, if it's out on the barrel of the bat. A big hand for Chris Spier because of the fine defensive play. He has really helped solidify that Expo infield.
Gary Matthews takes a strike. And listen to these Canadian fans in Montreal. They're Expos in front 3-1. And you know if they leave the ballpark today saying we beat Steve Carlton, that they're going to feel mighty confident about this playoff. Rogers still talking his way through some of the pitches. 1-1 to Matthews. A double and 3 trips for Gary. Looked like that changeup. 2-1.
Rogers have several clubhouse meetings with himself on the mound. He continually talk to himself, remind himself of the things that he's supposed to do, what he's not supposed to do.
They're now in the 8th inning in Houston. No score. Reardon, a right-hander, Fryman, a left-hander, are getting loose in the Montreal pen. Houston feeling the score in the last of the 7th. That ball hammered high in the air to Dawson in center. And the Expos are 3 outs away from victory. No runs, a hit, but Lonnie Smith picked off first base on a snap throw by Gary Carter. Bottom of the 8th, it'll be Spier, Rogers, and the leadoff man, Cromartie.
I'm delighted to, well, I can't tell you how thrilled to have you all here. But I want to tell you, you span the years for me, and you've, and all these young gentlemen here are growing up as ball players. It's a delight to have all of you here. The nostalgia is bubbling within me, and I may have to be dragged out of here because of all the stories that are coming up in my mind.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
We go to the last of the 8th inning, and Chris Spier had another 30-second ovation for the catch. It was a good catch, but hardly a great play. Boy, the fans really applauding his effort.
Well, the fans are caught up in the enthusiasm of the possibility of winning, except for one. Winning their first postseason game, and they've got to be excited.
Check swing foul, and it's 1-1 to Spier, who also has contributed at the plate today with an RBI double back in the 2nd inning. That's the go-ahead run at the moment. And then he's walked twice, scored another run. 2 managers, Fanning and Green. Looking ahead to the 9th inning for Philadelphia, Schmidt, McBride, and Moreland scheduled. With that fastball coming right into your window. 2-1.
Situation last inning against the Expos. 3-1 count. Reed went with a breaking ball. And then he went to 3-2 on Larry Parrish and struck him out with a high fastball. Here he is 3-2 on Chris Spier. Let's see which way he goes. course, Parrish had been on base now last inning when he was up.
Ball 4. The third straight time that Spier has walked. And that is the 7th base on balls given up by Philadelphia pitching today. Although Reed thought he had him struck out.
Looks like a high slider out of the strike zone. It's the third time today that he's walked. Dick, it's an amazing thing. It's leading off the inning every time that he has walked.
This crowd building in its enthusiasm, saluting Steve Rogers. To lead off the 4th, eventually scored on Cromartie's double. Walked to lead off the 6th, but died at 3rd when White fly deep to center. And he's aboard again, and Rogers, as he has done the last 2 times up, trying to move him along to 2nd. Oh, a little Baltimore chopper there, a butcher chop swing. Unable to track it down, Manny Trio.
It's a play that Casey Stingo used to call the butcher boy. Get those infielders coming in, get them moving, fake the bunt, and hack on the ball when it gets up there.
I like that play. You don't see it much these days, and a man who can handle the bat and get yourself a cheap base hit.
Especially when you consider how difficult it is to bunt a good bunt on the AstroTurf. Much easier to field bunts on the artificial surfaces.
Watch White Barber's reaction. Bunted hard, and Rose gets the force at second base. Rogers safe on the fielder's choice. As you said, you really have to be an artist with that bat on the carpet to move a man along.
Well, you can see is it's not a good bunt, but when the ball hits, how it comes right up into Rose. Very easy for him to handle. Good hard slide by Spier at second base, and Boa jumps out of the way. He doesn't have a play at first base because Rogers runs well for a pitcher.
So Rogers, the jacketed form at first base with 1 out. Cromartie out of that leadoff spot. Since the injury to Reams, he's done quite a job, and so it is today with a couple of big base hits.
Cromartie, since he's been in that leadoff spot, 467. One of the moves that Jim Fanning has made, putting Cromartie in the #1 spot in the lineup.
Takes a couple of strikes from Reed.
Maybe he's looking for a knuckleball. This looks like they look like they're right down Broadway.
Good stop by Moreland. Just to review the scoring for you, in the first inning, Montreal took the lead. A single by Cromartie. White trying to bunt him along, forced him at second. White then, safe on the fielder's choice, stole second and scored on Gary Carter's 2-out double off the left field wall. Keith Moreland's home run over the center field fence in the second tied it at 1, but in the bottom of the second, the Expos regained the lead on a double by Tim Wallach and a 1-out double by Spier. And they added a run in the 4th inning, a leadoff walk to Spier and Cromartie's double. That's where we stand, 3-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning. And in the bottom of the 8th inning, after the Dodgers failed to score in their half of the 8th, it's Houston up in a scoreless tie in the Astrodome. And all the rest of us will be ready tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Youppi! Game 2, there's a foul ball. About 5 feet foul down the left field line. He does go the opposite way, doesn't he?
He goes to left field as well as anybody in the league. Good contact hitter, Warren Cromartie. He's in the hole, 1 ball and 2 strikes. If he can keep from trying to pull that ball, he's one of the finer hitters in the National League. One of the happy-go-lucky guys in the league, too. Always smiling and laughing around that batting cage yesterday, getting on his teammates.
Oops, wild pitch. And Rogers goes to second base. So again, the Expos have a chance to add to the 3-1 lead. And how many opportunities have gone by the board for them?
If they do end up losing, they've got nobody to blame if themselves. They've got a number of players down in scoring position have not been able to blow the game open. Moreland unable to block the ball. It was down in the dirt. Looked like a changeup from Reed.
The Expos have left 10 men on base in the first 7 innings. They have Rogers at second. 1 out, 2-2 pitch. Hit hard and high and foul. That went way back into the mezzanine.
You can see with that swing that Cromartie definitely trying to go to left field with the ball. Doesn't want to strike out. He's going to put the ball in play. He's got a man in scoring position now.
In the dirt. Rogers going to third. He's out. So there goes another man out of scoring position. Rogers gambled, and a good throw by Moreland.
Well, it's a calculated risk whether you're going to go here. You can see Cromartie is going to wave him on, but the ball didn't bounce very far away from Keith Moreland. A perfect throw to third base. It's not a bad play if you make it. You get to third base with 1 out. Sets up the sacrifice fly possibility. All the different ways to score from third base with 1 out. But when you get thrown out, you get taken out of scoring position as well.
So now the full count to Cromartie. And he's out of there. So Reed works out of trouble in both the 7th and 8th innings. That's his 3rd strikeout. No runs, no hits, no one left. The Phils last call, top of the 9th, and they bring up some big guns.
Follow the bouncing ball Sunday on NBC Sports.
Top of the 9th inning at Olympic Stadium, Montreal. Game 1 of this Eastern Division Series. And Steve Rogers, out pitching Steve Carlton, leads 3-1 and will face Mike Schmidt, Bake McBride, and Keith Moreland. Gary Maddox, somber expression, not in the lineup today for Philadelphia, but of course available as a pinch hitter. Woody Fryman and Jeff Reardon, just in case, warming up in the Expo bullpen. Schmidt 0 for 2, but robbed of a hit at third on a fine play by Larry Parrish back in the 3rd that saved a run. Rogers looking at his hand as if to blame that 4 fingers and a thumb for that last one.
Well, it could have been a hangnail or something, Steve. He'll talk to his finger here. He'll get it all organized. 22 starts this year. There you see the Houston-LA score. Rogers has 22 starts, 7 complete games. Coming into this 9th inning, he's only thrown 100 pitches. Nice cool day, so shouldn't be from being tired if he comes out of the game. He should be plenty strong enough.
2-0 the count. Rogers disgusted with himself not to call it the umpire. And we want to remind you, fans, that as soon as this game is over, we're going to be switching you to the Astrodome, so you'll be able to see what could be a very dramatic finish again between the Dodgers and the Astros. There in the 9th inning, no score. Here it's 3-1 Montreal. Big pitch for Rogers. Schmidt taking all the way.
Big pitch, big out. Biggest out in the inning for a pitcher is the first out. Sets up the double play should men get on. You got to get the first out of the inning. You don't want to walk the leadoff hitter. 3-1, you're 2 runs ahead. Mike Schmidt can't tie the game up.
That's right. A walk here, that old lexicon is true. A walk is as good as a hit here, and Schmidt is acting that way. He's going to make him throw. I would guess he's taking 3-1 again, wouldn't you?
Should be taking 3-1. Mike can't tie the game up. He's down 2 runs. His value is on first base. Here again, as you've seen Schmidt all day, getting 3-0 in the first inning, 3-1 the second time up, and here again 3-1. But I would think he'd be taking it. No. Wrong again.
What
do you know about hockey?
That's right.
2 strikes to Schmidt. Out of play.
3-2 pitch out of the strike zone, too. Rogers still rubbing his fingers, having a little meeting with himself. He knows that's a big out up there. He knows that's the out he wants in the inning more than anything else. He could be getting a blister, too. Or the chill. Could be the chill. He may not have a good feeling in his fingertips because if it is chilly on the field.
Yeah, the other rule is you bring that tying run up, and you may be out of the game. Grounded hard to Spier, and he gets it. Oh, Schmidt hit it on the nose, but directly to the Montreal shortstop. 2 outs to go. 3-1 Montreal. It's interesting. You get to the playoffs and pitching. Last night, 1-1 in the 9th. Astros win 3-1. Today, they're scoreless. Here, 3-1. Low-scoring games. Ball 1. Parrish in tight at third base. McBride still runs well, despite knee surgery midseason this year. 1-1. Marty, meanwhile, is deep at first base. 2-1. Good job today, and congratulations to John Gonzalez, our director, and our producer, George Finkel. Nice to have our executive producer, Don Olmeyer, with us in Montreal today, and all the NBC crew, and excellent job. 2-2 the count.
In this situation, Rogers, every out obviously is a big out. Schmidt's a big out. McBride becomes a big out because the guy in the on-deck circles already hit a home run off him today.
Fair ball, and there's 2 away. Failed to score in the top of the 9th. Bottom of the 9th inning, the Astros are up. We'll go to the Astrodome right after the completion of this game, and listen to this crowd rooting for the final out as Canada, in its first playoff opportunity, wants to win. Keith Moreland homered over the center field fence in the 2nd inning for the only Philly run. He also has a single and a soft line out. Montreal 3, Philadelphia 1. But Moreland keeps it alive with a single to center field, his 3rd hit of the game. So Keith Moreland has led all hitters with 3 base hits. He's going to come out for a pinch runner. See if Jim Fanning is going to stay with Rogers as a pinch hitter. And a pinch runner will be used by Dallas Green. Luis Aguayo will run for Moreland. His run, of course, can't beat the Expos. He doesn't want to take any undue chances.
Yeah, the next man can, obviously, and you want a guy up there that can pop the ball out of the ballpark. Scheduled hitter, of course, Larry Boa. Dallas Green going to his bench.
And George Vukovic is coming up.
inside Chicago. Vukovic hit .385 this year after being recalled. He was up 26 times with 10 hits. One of those a home run. He represents the tying run. One and one. A crowd of 34,327. It would have been much larger, I'm certain, but it has been raining in Montreal since mid-afternoon yesterday and right up to game time today. They're glad they came. 3-1 the score. Hit to left field, and that's another base hit as Vukovic off the bench keeps it alive for Philadelphia. So now the potential winning run comes to the plate, and to the mound goes Jim Fanning.
We talked to Jim Fanning yesterday, sitting down there, casually chatting with him, Dick, you and I, and about his ball club, about his experience of managing, and he said his bullpen has done it for him. Bullpen, the guys down in that bullpen, Jeff Reardon, Woody Fryman, Sosa, every game that they played in, it seemed to be a close game.
And here comes Reardon, the right-hander, acquired from the Mets at midseason in the trade that dealt Ellis Valentine to New York. And the hand building for Steve Rogers as he comes off. It'll go up a few decibels. With a break in the action, the score, Expos 3, Phillies 1. Let's pause for this word.
America's most innovative sports show returns Saturday with 2 World Championship fights. First, marvelous Marvin Hagler, middleweight champion of the world, battles the tough Mustafa Hamsho. Plus, WBA heavyweight champion Mike Weaver takes on the undefeated James Quick Tillis. Saturday.
2 outs in the 9th inning. The Phils, Derek Rogers with hits by Moreland and Vukovic.
A real popular player here for the Montreal Expos. Steve Rogers getting thrown out at third, but he got a fine hand coming off that mound after pitching 8 2/3 innings today. A real competitor. A veteran of this young Montreal staff. He's the player that holds this staff together.
Jeff Reardon, hard-throwing right-hander, against Manny Trio with a tying run at first base. 3-1. Expos lead it. Reardon with Montreal, 2 wins, no losses with an ERA. Those numbers are reversed. It was 1.29, not 2.19. So much better even than those numbers would indicate. A 1.29 ERA with Montreal and 2.19 overall. There's Rudy Carpenter, the owner of the Phils. Looking for a big base hit from Trio, a man he acquired in a very big trade from the Cubs a couple of years ago.
Reardon is by no means a trick pitcher either. He's going to come in from the bullpen and go right after you with hard stuff. 2 fastballs away, the first 2 pitches to Manny Trio, and he's behind in a hole, 2-0.
Off the corner, 2-1. On deck, if Del Unser for the Phils, he would hit for the pitcher. 2 on, 2 out, the 2-1 pitch. Yes, 2-2, went around. Here comes the crowd. They're on their feet. 1 strike from victory. Hit well to left field. Back goes Francona.
Team America. You can make them go through water, or climb, or jump. It's Team America and the Super Stunt Dirt Bike. The Super Stunt Dirt Bike is designed with knobby wheels, so you can make them do high-jumping stunts. Team America. You can make them go through water, or climb, or jump. It's Team America and the Super Stunt Dirt Bike from Ideal.